Hi, I'm Paul Duchesne, and this is Mama Paul's Daily Diary. It's a bit of a new format. Today is Friday, September the 25th, 2020, and I'm going to change the format a little bit. What we're going to do is we're going to do maybe a 5 or 10 minute little segment. I'm going to try to do it almost every day, and I'm going to do a little riff on maybe just one or two of the headline stories or what I seem to find maybe the most interesting. That's either in the newspaper or maybe on television, off the radio, or one of the various magazines that come into the house every week. And for me, yesterday's little story, the whole week has just been a cascade of monumental stories, one after another, as every week has been lately, including the fact of Ruth Bader Ginsburg's death, and then Trump with his unbelievable remarks that he, the President of the United States, won't honor the results of the election. He's even got a few Republicans a little bit ruffled on that one. Anyway, let's move right ahead. And this story that I'm going to just grab for, and I'm doing this one just to relate to a personal information story. So let's go to camera 3 for a second. And there's the New York Times from the other day, and that would be from Friday the 25th. And the headline story read, President's niece files suit over inheritance. Now, this is Mary Trump, and you remember that she published a book about a month or so ago, became a bestseller, and she was on all the major talk shows. Well, right now, they filed a lawsuit. They filed a lawsuit in New York's court, and Mary is telling the family story. She said they tricked, bullied, and ultimately cheated her out of an inheritance worth tens of millions of dollars. The key takeaway here was she's quoted here as saying, fraud was not just a family business, it was a way of life. Fraud was not just a family business, it was a way of life. Holy mackerel. Boy, what a thing to say about your family. She talked about Fred Trump, how he exploited the empire, the New York City real estate empire that he built, with a lot of help from the mob in Queens, and that would be the Gambino family in Queens. That's who did most of his business, and those are the people that taught him how to double bill, and he had quite a relationship with them, which is well documented. The lawsuit breaks down into 3 sections. The names are the grift, the devaluing, and the squeeze out. This is the actual words in the actual lawsuit. Trump and his siblings used their position of power to con her into signing her interest away. Con artists, gangsters, and racists. And the reason I brought this story up was, on a personal note, I grew up, maybe about 5 blocks from where Donald Trump's father was arrested with the Ku Klux Klan back in 1939. It was 1939. And Fred Trump is marching with the Ku Klux Klan in robes on Queens Boulevard heading towards Manhattan. And he gets arrested, I think it's around 45th or 46th Street where they actually arrested him, and I'm about 5 blocks away. So he's arrested with the Ku Klux Klan for marching with Klan outfits. It was against the law in Queens to march in a Ku Klux Klan outfit. He's marching with the Klan on their way to the Democratic National Convention, which is being held in Madison Square Garden. And you can check this out. This has been on television, well documented. There's at least a 30-foot high swastika on the back wall of the Democratic National Convention in 1939. Now, this sounds really astonishing to some people when you mention this, but if you look at America back in the 30s, you find out that there was a history of Nazi infiltration in America. There was a series of fascist, right-wing. You'll find that in general, the wealthy support fascist regimes while the poor support communist regimes. The fascist regimes tend to socialize the government to give the monies to the industry and support the industries and support the wealthy people. Whereas in communist states, you tend to distribute the money more evenly. Now, once totalitarianism comes into the picture with the leader, it sort of throws everything on its head. So if you have a totalitarian communist state, it's a lot different than a democratic communist state, or say a religious communist state, like your brothers and nuns. They basically live in a communist kind of environment where they share everything. So the wealthy tend to favor fascism, while the poor tend to favor communism. So what you have is, as we came out of the Depression and Roosevelt got into this whole New Deal and everything, as they were increasing the taxes on the wealthy, a lot of the wealthy people sort of banded together, and fascism was sort of growing. Little seeds of it were growing throughout the country, and there was a major fascist ring in the country. As I talk later on in the show, I'm going to bring up a whole little string of things historically, which is going to bring us through World War II, to us importing fascists into the government and into the founding of the CIA through the Dulles brothers, who, if Roosevelt hadn't died in the spring of 45 when he took office, the Dulles brothers would more than likely have been tried for treason. So we've gone a little bit over to 5 minutes, but that's the kind of thing I'm going to do. I'm going to try to do a small, compact little story, maybe one story, maybe two, we'll see. And the larger stories that I'm going to do about, say, the commodification of people and the slavery which supports the basis of capitalism, that'll be a bigger story. The Powell Memo, which was written in order to eviscerate the liberal intellectual wing in this country, and was very successful, and literally created Fox News as we know it today. So a couple of these things are sort of these bigger stories, and those stories I will do, and they won't just be a daily diary. There'll be more of a 15 or 20 minute story, and I'm going to try to mark this stuff up on the page here on YouTube. I'll see if I can figure out how to put things into different categories. But this was the end of the daily diary for today. So peace, patience, and persistence.